Good evening, everyone. How are you doing? Well, good evening if it's evening for you. I live in Spain. You know that Central Europe, it's 9:30. Where do you live and what time of the day it is there? Good morning, in case, and also good night. This is Banter Blitz with me, Anna, also known as Miss Strategy. There's my fellow partner in crime, Sopiko. She's really a chess project, but everything I do is in a way connected to chess, as you can imagine. Chess is my life. So today is Banter Blitz. I'm not canceling it anymore. I try to be here every Thursday for you. And as I was trying to mention, the last session we had was the teaching Anna. I was trying to teach you as much as possible. I was explaining every game in detail after the game as well. Today, I promised to you guys that I will play more games and explain less. So I try to be as instructive as usual. We are on Chess24 in case you have a Blitz game. Yes, rated. And yes, 5 minutes because I need to be talking about the games. That is Banter Blitz and be explaining my thoughts, my ideas during the game as I'm playing. So that's what you should do. And here you see the chat. You can talk to other Chess24 members. I see myself so many. Wow, this is weird. Yeah, let's switch back to the normal mode. And one more thing that is important. Premium members always get priority. So if you want to challenge me, then you should be a premium. We have a special promotion for these weeks. And that is that most of us Banter Blitz streamers have a special code. So if you want to challenge me, you need to become a premium member for that. But with the code Anna, so my name, A-N-N-A, Anna. With that code, you get 15% off. 15% off. If it's a monthly membership, 15% off of that. If it's an annual membership or 3-year membership, 15% off of that price. It's a one-time code. You can only use it once. So be wise with how you use it. Take advantage of this code, A-N-N-A, Anna. And then challenge me. Let's accept the first challenge because I speak a lot as usual. And shall we or not mix it as usual? I say as usual a lot, I think. All right, I think this is a new nick. Have I clicked on one? When I see a new nickname, I like to click on it as quickly as possible. Did I click on it or not? Okay, let's try another one. Didn't work. I was too quick. Here's another one. Papar from Germany. Let's see if I can actually get the board on today. Did you guys have also problems with some of the web browsers? Or it's just me? It feels like it's a lot slower today. And I hope it's not the internet itself so that the video is going well, but somehow the browsers are not the best today. I'm playing with the white pieces. And I shall go for my usual 1e4. I like open games, you know that. You know that. Whoa, the Alachin defense, or Aljochin, or Alekine. So many pronunciations for one brilliant chess player. Alachin. I'm gonna go for the usual response, which is e5. Ask that knight where it wants to go, and then usually you conquer the center with d4 and c4. So you can play, for instance, c4 here or knight f3. Those are options. Let's go for c4 and see how the game will develop afterwards. So basically, you can play with many different variations, many different setups against the Alachin, depending on how you want to play. Mainly what you will see is that black right now has a strange knight on b6. I guess if you play the Alachin, then you know about that knight. But as you see, that knight is targeting the c4 pawn. Now after bishop g4, he might want to take on f3 and attack the d4 pawn. He can take on e5 and then the d file opens up for the queen. So even though black is lacking space, he's got quite some potential. Now I want to ask this bishop where he or she or it where the bishop wants to go. I don't think there are pronouns for the pieces. I usually call the king and the queen by the pronoun he and she, But the pieces, how do you call the pieces? It. So this is a position where I've got the pair of bishops as often as I can. I try to get the pair of bishops. And black is passive for the moment, but you shouldn't really overestimate your chances when you have such an expanded center. It's not so easy to hold on to all these squares. Now, he might take on e5 next move, and then I will have to take back with the d pawn. So my pawn chain is not as strong as it looks. For now, I like my position. I'm enjoying this position, definitely. And I like to have more space. You also know that. I like the pair of bishops. I like more space. I like knight outposts. So sometimes I give up a bishop for a knight outpost. I think he will go queen d4, attack. Oh, he didn't. He had the chance to go queen d4, attack both the e5 and the c4 pawns. So that's what I was telling you about. It's not as easy, actually, as it looks. I'm going to play bishop e3 and bring the rook to d1. So now there's no more queen d4 anymore. But even in the future, he can play queen c7, knight d7. So I'll be hanging on to these pawns. Opponent disconnected. No. Papar from Germany. Hello. Please make your move. Please come back to chess 24, to the play zone. Papar, I'm waiting for you. You see, knight d7. And now, very natural move for me is rook d1. But he will play queen c7, attacking the pawn with yet another piece, and I cannot protect it. So maybe rook d1 was even a mistake from my side. But I'm trying to be tricky. I might have to play queen g3, and if he takes bishop f4. Maybe bishop e3 was not the best move. Perhaps I had to place the bishop on f4 immediately, because this e5 pawn, you see, when you advance your pawns so much, sometimes it's very difficult to hang on to them. I love having more space, but I love being able to defend my pawns with other pawns, not with pieces. So I think I should have put the bishop immediately on f4, because now I'm losing a tempo by having to move the bishop again. If I go queen g3 first, he will take on e5 with the queen. If he took with the knight, I would play bishop f4, and that's a very nice pin for me. But if he takes with the queen, I don't like it. So I'm gonna go bishop f4, and if he takes with the knight, queen g3, and I will try to claim that I have compensation for the sacrificed material, but I clearly admit that I should have played bishop f4 immediately. So bishop e3 was a waste of time. It just looked nicer, but it was not useful, the bishop on e3. Now if he takes on e5, queen g3, I do think that I have compensation because of that pin, but we shall see it, because he's going for the pawn. He can't play bishop d6 because I'm gonna go queen takes g7, knight bd7 is the good way to protect this knight. And now I think what I will do is just simply finish development as quickly as possible, castle, very quickly. So you see that he's struggling to get out of the pin. That is the good point of sacrificing this e5 pawn. Even if it was not a brilliant plan, bishop e3, bishop f4, losing a tempo, I do think I have compensation. He's still struggling, and I thought he would play g5, but I have this intermediate move, check. And he cannot cover the diagonal with knight g6 nor knight f7 because of the hanging queen on c7. Very useful to give the check first without moving the bishop away, so that the pin is still there on the board. And yes, now I need to move the bishop. Wait a second. Woo! Can I? Okay, this is a blitz game. Let's go for this move. I was like, I'm normally not sacrificing pieces. That's Miss Tactics. That's Miss Tactics. That's not me. That's Sopico. I would normally just grind out an endgame advantage, but today I decided to go crazy. Now, what do I have for the sacrifice piece? The weak king on e7. How do I exploit this pin? I should go knight to e4. And I believe he cannot protect the f6 knight properly unless he goes back to d7 with the knight. He will do that, and now I can think about rook takes d7, another sacrifice. What's going on with me today? Shall I? I think I should. I mean, today I'm gonna sacrifice half of my army. Totally not my style. But sometimes you just need to go with the flow. It's the position that you need to play, and sometimes it requires sacrifices. Now, how can I be precise? If I take with the knight king c8, maybe my sacrifice wasn't that correct after all. Let's stick with the queen. Perhaps my sacrifice wasn't the best. But actually it's just an exchange, so it's not the end of the world. Then I can go rook d1. I wanted to take with the queen so that I can take on e6 afterwards with a check if king c8. Perhaps I had something better than this. I feel like I missed some tactical blow that Sopikov would have seen immediately. I'm not the kind of girl that sacrifices normally so many pieces. Do you sacrifice? Do you love sacrificing, or do you prefer... Oh, Papa resigned. Well, I did not expect that. I didn't... Okay, now I did expect it. Okay, I realized that, yes, this order was actually winning because the rook will be hanging after king c8 and if bishop d6. I told you I'm not gonna do post-mortem analysis, but I guess Papa resigned because of this variation. He could still give up the queen for the rook, so queen takes, knight takes, king takes. But I have a queen and a bishop, and the king is still in the middle of the board, so... Oh wow, I didn't realize that I was actually doing fine with this attack. Queen takes f6. There must be some move here. Maybe first rook g8. Queen f7, bishop e7. You see, I can't help analyzing, but now rook d1. Yeah, it's winning too. Strangely, but I have actually succeeded in sacrificing pieces and attacking my opponent's king. Once in a lifetime, I do this as well. Let's go for a new game. What do you guys think? Shall we play another game? Because today I promised I'm gonna play lots of Blitz games. I shall have a look at the chat as well, by the way. How is everyone in the chat? On Chess24, I did not have the iPad here, but I can look at the chat on this website. Accepting bishop g5, accepting g5. No, when I took on g5, you mean. Kramnik student says that accepting the bishop sacrifice on g5 was perhaps bad. Yeah, could be that after bishop takes g5, yeah, black was not forced to take. But I promise not to analyze too much the game, so I'm gonna go for the next challenge. Next week I will be analyzing more post-mortem games. Let's see who is my next opponent. Premium members get priorities. Remember, 15% off with the discount code ANNA. A-N-N-A. Gueri24 from Spain. Hi, nice to meet you. I'm playing with the black pieces against Gueri24. Gueri, it is your turn. Until he doesn't make his move, I'm gonna remind you that today is the birthday of our world champion, Magnus Carlsen. And Sopiko and I, you probably know, Sopiko and I wanted to show the mug again. If you go to watch video series, no, I don't want to abort. No. No, sorry, I wanted to show it in another tab. If you go to Chess24, watch video series, and then type in Magnus Carlsen, since it's his birthday. Magnus turned 27 today. You see these ladies? Yeah, one of them is me, and the other is my best friend Sopiko. Miss Strategy and Miss Tactics Magnus Trilogy. We have recorded a video series on the career of Magnus Carlsen, from how he became a child prodigy, then on to rising to the elite level and becoming a world chess champion. That's all on Chess24. You can get it. If you are a premium member, it's all free. So by getting a premium membership, you can access all the videos in our video library. Now, has my opponent made his move? No. That means I should go for a new challenge. He's not here. Gueri, I'm sorry, but I need to go for a new challenge. We can't wait forever, can we? So let's give a chance to someone else. Let's see. Oh, sorry, I need to abort this game first. I was like, I can't click on the tabs. I'm sorry about it, Gary. I hope that we can play another day. So, Juan Jaén from Spain. I guess from Jaén. I did have a flatmate from Jaén. And Linares is nearby, so I've been to Linares a couple of times. I'm playing with the white pieces. It's good to abort a game because next game you get white pieces. No, it was not on purpose. Unfortunately, I wish Gary was here, but he wasn't. The Najdorf. Have you watched? Have you learned from this lady, the Najdorf? Because do not be afraid. Sopiko teaches the Najdorf, plays the Najdorf, and she... Okay, the dragon. That is somewhat better, but usually Black plays knight f6 first and then g6. So what is the difference with this move order? Knight f6 is supposed to be more precise, and now I should figure out whether this move order will make so much of a difference or not. Actually, this move order, I can go for the Maroczy setup. So I will claim that the difference between playing g6 or knight f6 is that you can push c4 first. e4 and c4 pawns against the Sicilian is called the Maroczy bind, and I like it because it's positional. And Maroczy, by the way, if you don't know, was a very strong Hungarian grandmaster. Knight c3, usually you go then bishop e3, bishop e2, and castle kingside. White has more space, again. I know that you realize that I love space advantage. I love having more space. And a good control of the center. I play bishop e2 first, so that after bishop e3... Well, actually I don't have to go bishop e3 first, I can castle 2. Shall I go for this first or not? Yeah, let's do it this move order. I'm waiting sometimes with castling kingside. Not that I will castle queenside, don't worry. No chance that the white wants to castle queenside here with the pawn on c4. That's not my plan. But sometimes you can end up playing an endgame. And in case of an endgame, I might not want to castle. Knight c6. Let's go for the useful move, f3. This is the setup that white wants to build. So I'm gonna castle later on, if he doesn't prevent it. I don't think he can, because this is the kind of position where the e file, the d file, the f file, like all those files around the king are closed. That's why I can waste time on moves like f3. Now, queen b6, my first reaction is queen d2, but then knight takes e4, and the d4 knight would be hanging because of this bishop coming from g7. Oh, actually, it's not a 5-minute game. Juan, you have tricked me. What is this? This is not a 5-minute game. How can I have so few time? Whoa. I don't know what's going on in the position, and it's not a 5-minute game. How did this happen? I didn't realize. Shame on me. Okay, I will try to trick you. But this was definitely not what I wanted. Neither the position nor the time. I have 1 minute with no extra time. Please, guys, you should challenge me for 5-minute games. I didn't see it was a different time control, and now I will get my king into trouble and my time is running out. So knight b5 I don't think is the best move, but I started to look at the clock. I want to go for some knight f5, discover the attack. But if I had played it a move earlier, then queen takes b2 was possible. After knight b5, knight e5, queen a5 check, bishop d2. Yeah, now I'm threatening knight f5, but it's black to move, so he can definitely do something about that. Yeah, maybe it's not too bad actually that I played knight b5. Did you guys follow what I was saying about queen d2? So if I had played queen d2 instead of knight b5, then I believe black had the chance to play knight takes e4, a temporary piece sacrifice. I expected this check. Now, maybe he wants to go back to b6. Will he? Oh no, please don't tell me that you want to repeat moves. No. Okay, I'm gonna go for something else. After queen a5 check, I'm gonna play queen d2. I don't care if I lose on time, but I would never repeat moves against anyone. I don't like draws. I think that's the most boring thing. It doesn't matter if my opponent is stronger or weaker. I simply don't like not playing. I mean, we are here to play chess, not to make draws. Now I'm gonna make a funny maneuver. I will maneuver my knight here, but I shouldn't do it immediately because this would be hanging. Let's remove it. So knight d5. Oh, what is this? It's a pawn sacrifice? What is this? It's just giving me the b5 pawn. Just like this. And now? I'm puzzled. Why did you give me the a pawn as well? a7 and a queen. Ooh, and now the rook. Juan, I think you started to look at the clock as well, because this is not normal. I mean, why did you give me all your pieces? Juan? I guess this was not his plan. I'm gonna take all your pieces. That's my plan. Take all your pieces and promote. You're gonna take my pawn on a7? If you don't, then I'm promoting. I even have more time on the clock, so I really don't understand this game. I don't understand this game, Juan. And now I won on time. Whoa, this was tense. The main point was that I didn't want to make a draw by repeating, so after queen d2 I prefer to play an endgame. And I think this endgame is better for white. I know I shouldn't explain. I will not analyze it very deeply, but I think this position is better for white because, well, without the queens on the board, what remains is now a much safer king for white, as it was before with the queens on the board, and I have more space, more active pieces, so white's position is better. Of course, it shouldn't be winning. He shouldn't have given me the b pawn and the a pawn and then the rook. But that's time trouble. Please don't challenge me for 3-minute games. It should be 5 minutes. Everyone, please. 5-minute games. 5-minute blitz. Premium members get priority. Let's see. Don't remember that today and these weeks, I think it's for these couple of weeks, you can use the discount code ANNA, A-N-N-A, to get your premium membership with 15% off. And it's a one-time code, so if you want to save money, then use it for something more valuable than a 1-month membership. That's my suggestion. Playing with the black pieces, black pieces. And the French defense is, of course, a very obvious choice for someone that's called Anna Rudolf. No, this is the most boring variation of the French. Please. Okay. You can either spice it up by castling queenside or by going for an isolated pawn structure, pushing c5 here. I'm gonna go for that. Sometimes I castle queenside to spice things up, even if I'm not the kind of person that would want to go for aggressive attacks. But I just don't like when the position is very, very drawish. I don't like draws, you see? I wish we could never make draw in chess. Sometimes I do wish. It's so much more exciting when there's a result. And it's a paradox because the starting position is equal, and if nobody makes a mistake, then it should be a draw. So it's, yeah, I don't know what would be the solution. Certainly it's not easy. I'm gonna develop my pieces, but I'm afraid that sooner or later I will have to push g5 too. Not the kind of move that I like, but sometimes in this variation, when you have an isolated pawn and the opponent is pinning your knight here, you've got to get out of the pin somehow. c3. Interesting. I'm gonna go bishop g4 first. I can also pin your knight. Knight d2 is very logical. Shall we go for g5 now? Or rook e1 first. He's gonna go knight b3 and knight d4 later on. Let's go rook e8 first. I think I still have time for this. I'm expecting knight b3, knight d4. This is the isolated pawn structure. You know about this. I recorded videos about this. My middle game shows are on YouTube. You can check them out if you don't know much about isolated pawn structures. I usually like to play against the isolated pawn, and in this position, I have an isolated pawn. Actually, I just dislike so much the idea of playing g5 that I'm gonna go for queen d6 instead. I don't like to push g5 even if sometimes it's the best. I don't like to weaken my king. I like to be safe. Safe, king, safe. Safety first. So I'm going queen d6, and next move I want to move the knight away from f6. If bishop g3, now I'm gonna move the queen somewhere else to d7, I believe. And you see that now after bishop h4, it's not the same position. I did manage to get out of the pin. Ideally, you want to place this knight on e4. The isolated pawn is helping you place the knight there, but now he's controlling the e4 square with lots of pieces, so white is doing well in not allowing me play knight e4. Now if I can't play knight e4, what shall I do? Bringing the rook to this semi-open c file looks like a good idea. Though he might take on e8. He does not want to take on e8. Okay. h3. I think that's a good move because I don't really have a very useful square for the bishop at this moment. Yeah, I don't like this much. I have to go here. I thought if bishop h5, my bishop is a little bit out of the game. I can't go bishop g6 because that square is very well covered by white. So yeah, bishop e6. Usually when you play with the isolated pawn, you want to keep as many minor pieces on the board as possible. Minor pieces. Because then you have dynamic possibilities in the position. If you just take off the minor pieces of the board, then usually the player who's playing against the isolated pawn has a positional advantage, and it's much easier to just attack the isolated pawn by doubling, tripling heavy pieces on the d file. Going back to h4, I'm very slow in this game, I believe. Knight h5, knight f4, I think that's a maneuver I should go for. So I'm trying to get my knight to f4, and then a possible sacrifice on h3. I don't know what's going on with me today. Isolated pawn, trying to sacrifice pieces. Who's this girl? No idea. Sopiko must be with me. I guess it's Sopiko telling me the moves, because what am I doing? Why I want to attack this king so much? Why I couldn't just play a rook endgame, another exciting rook endgame as usual? Well. At least in this moment, play responsibly, by the way. That's a very cool nick from Germany. Play responsibly is having some time here to make his move, which is good for me because I was low on time. At some point I think I had like half the time on the clock. And now it's getting balanced. 2 minutes for each. I have more chances with more time on the clock for sure. Whoa! That's why he didn't make his move, because he was calculating. Wow, that's nice. If I take with the rook, bishop f5, if I take with the queen, bishop f5, if I take with the pawn, bishop g6, that's why you didn't make your move. You were calculating this. Wow, nice. I like that. I mean, I like that you spotted the tactical motive. I'm not sure that it's that good, by the way, because I think I'm just gonna give you that rook, and in this position, you see that it completely changed the pawn structure. Now I have connected pawns. I don't have isolated pawn anymore, and you had to give up your bishop for this tactical motif to be possible to be played. So all in all, I'm happy because I have my knight on f4 and I don't have an isolated pawn anymore, but it was a very pretty idea, capturing on e6. I just don't think that it favored white that much, but sometimes it happens. It happens to everyone that you see a nice motif and you want to play it, so you go for it, even if it's not the best. But still, this position is complicated. I'm not claiming that black is much better here. I just think that I have a pleasant position. I need to be careful though. I think I'm gonna move this rook to the f file. I like it more on the f file now. So I'm threatening knight takes h3 because the knight on f3 would be hanging. And I don't want to move these pawns for the moment. If I pushed e4 on the previous move, white would have had the chance to jump to d4. I want to keep these pawns flexible. So now there's no outpost, no square between these pawns where white could place these knights. You see the f3 and the b3 knights have no job. Okay, going back to d2. But now I can push, because after knight d4 I'm gonna take it. Knight d4, I'll take it, so you have a pawn on d4 and not a knight. That's what I wanted, and I can place my knight on d3. Bishop takes. Is there a sacrifice? What's going on with me that I want to sacrifice again? Knight h3, I'm calculating. G takes, bishop takes g3, pawn takes, queen takes h3, knight f1, defending everything. Maybe it's not correct. Okay, let's not sacrifice, but I was very tempted to go for it again. I don't know what's wrong with me. What's wrong with me? Or maybe it's just that finally I'm playing brave chess. Now this is not brave, not that brave anymore. I'm just trying to... Whoa! I was almost about to make an illegal move. Queen to g5. No, I think trying to see sacrifices all the time made me completely crazy. I was looking at diagonals that don't exist, and now I should speed up because I was... Whoa, what am I doing, by the way? I mean, no, this is not good for you. I know that, but I didn't even consider rook c8 or taking or anything. I just made this b6 move immediately, but knight takes d3 was bad. I'm sorry for that. And I'm gonna promote if you take my queen. Oh, played responsibly. You are a gentleman, because you could have played on since I only had 19 seconds. So I thank you for being such a fair play person. I guess your nickname is because of that. Play responsibly, and fair play is really kind what you have just showed us. So I really appreciate it that you didn't want to win on time. I might have been able to get to a mating position under 19 seconds, or I might not have managed, so we will never know it, but you didn't try to beat me on time, and I really appreciated that you didn't try to flag me. It was an interesting game. I think you just shouldn't have taken on d3, so up until this moment, it was interesting. b6, I was just saying that I didn't even consider rook c8 or something else. Maybe that was a better alternative. I played b6, but you shouldn't take, you have to go back to b3. And this position, I think black is better. Oh, no, it's not just better. Why did I not give check before on f1? I know the knight was on d2, covering the f1 square, but I didn't realize that once the knight moves, I can go to f1. And then knight f2. Threatening mate on h1, but still, queen c1, then I take the rook. And there's no queen d1, no rook e1. Okay, so this was winning. But I should have played this a move earlier. Okay, after knight b3, I didn't realize. Here I started to be just... When I start to be very low on time, logic and common sense go out of the window. And I play just the first move that comes to my mind. I was like, okay, I should make a quick move, doesn't matter what it is. So I go king h7, and it doesn't make sense, of course. I just wanted to make a quick move. But I missed that I could just play queen f1 and then next move knight f2, and I'm winning. It's mate, queen h1. If g4, I'm sure there's a mate later on. So there's no queen c1, nor queen d1, nor rook e1. This is what I should have played. Anyway, thanks for the game. Play responsibly. And we have lots of time to play more games. I'm just gonna check out how is everyone doing in the chat. Reminder, by the way, you see it on the screen, right? This is Magnus Carlsen's birthday today. Happy birthday to Magnus. He is turning 27 today. I already tweeted about it, and I also said happy birthday to another great chess player and one of my favorite commentators. If you have seen the tweet, you know who he is. Ginger GM, they share a birthday. The 30th of November is both the birthday of the world champion and Simon Williams. So today is a great day. Maybe that's why I'm playing crazy chess. It's Simon's influence. I don't know what's wrong with me today. But this is the Magnus trilogy that we have recorded with Sopico. You can get it for free if you're a premium member. So access to all videos on Chess24 for free by getting a premium membership. Remember that you have a discount code called ANNA, ANNA. When you go to the checkout, use the code ANNA and you get a 15% off of your first purchase with that code. So you can use it once, use it wisely. Let's go back to the play zone. I was going to check out the chat, but I think you guys want to play more, so I will play one more game and then I see the chat. Normally I have a tablet or iPad with me so that I can look at the chat, but today I forgot it. So I can't. I need to switch windows if I want to see the chat. Chasselstoffer. That's a nice nickname, but he's not here. Let's see if he connects, if he reconnects to the play zone. Until we are waiting, I can check out the chat. So let's go back to, actually I'm gonna open a new one. Chess24. I'm gonna open a new window so that it's always in Spanish when I open it, because I'm in Spain, so it's logical. Ooh, the game started. The game has started. No, the game hasn't started. The tab did say that the game has started. Let's go back to the chat while I'm waiting for my opponent to reconnect. Hi everyone here, I'm reading you. I'm reading you and everyone can see it on the screen what's on the chat. Is that good? Is that bad? Hi Chaba, hi Chaspago. I have a new nickname as far as I can see. Hi Anna, red lipstick on white face. Yeah, perhaps that's who I am. Oh, I see you guys have... The Mad King has never played me. I will accept your challenge too if you challenge me. Thank you, Gremlin Student. He says, well, you guys can see it on the screen, that he really likes the Miss Strategy, Miss Tactics series. And yeah, our style with Sopiko is completely different. That's why I'm so amazed that today I'm playing more in her style than in my own style. The game was aborted. Chess Stoffer, I like your nickname and I hope that next time we can play. Okay, I want to see. I also wanted to see if the Mad King was challenging me, because I've just seen your chat, your comment in the chat, and I wanted to accept your challenge too. I just can't accept so many challenges at the same time. I'm playing against Moby. Moby playing the Caro-Kann from Belgium. And I will go for the 2 knights variation, because that's positional, and I like positional variations. Bishop g4 is one option, and d takes e4 the other. And d4, that's also another option. But you shouldn't go for the same line. You know that, right? This isn't as good as it's in the other variation. I wonder if Moby is aware of the fact that this variation is not so good against the 2 knights. Because now after bishop h7, is it... I think it's first queen f3 and then queen b3. Wait a second, I need to calculate. Queen f3. This variation is bad for black. I need to calculate why. How was this variation? Queen f3, queen d5. How was this variation? I know that this is bad. Maybe bishop c4 first. No. I need to think, because I know that this this is an opening trap, but I just blacked out and I forgot what's going on. Oh, okay, after queen d5 I'm just taking and bishop b5 check. So I'm not giving mate, but I win material. Okay, I got it. I was thinking queen f3, queen d5, and then how is the mate? There's no mate. I'm gonna take the queen on d5 and give a check on b5. Now if knight f6, the thing is, I have queen b3 threatening mate again, and queen takes b7. So this is an opening trap in the 2 knights variation, that if black plays the same line, taking on e4, bishop f5, bishop g6, that's the usual play in the Caro-Kann. But it doesn't work against the 2 knights because of this variation. I will show it to you after the game. This is the only thing I want to show today. Please let me be a teacher. I just can't help not teaching you. I always want you to improve and to learn and get to the level you want. So I'm sorry, I can't help it. After this game, if it goes well, I'll show you why this is an opening trick and how it is in the normal variation. You can play it too against the Caro-Kann. You see, it's very easy to fall into it, and Moby has a high rating, 2300, and he has just fallen into this opening trap. So guys, everyone who plays e4, you can learn this opening trick today. If queen d5, I would have still taken on b7 and queen takes e5 check, bishop e2, then the rook falls on a8, and after e6 the same thing. I'm not winning the rook, but I have taken a pawn and now I can take a second pawn. So it's not like it's completely winning, but it's pretty much a lot of material. I think the best move should be knight takes. And if queen c8, bishop a6, so the rook is still in trouble. I'm taking 2 pawns and okay, bishop a6, knight c5, I take on c8. If he takes on b7, the rook will be hanging and the rook is trapped on a8. So that's the point. 2 pawns up for white and I'm winning the rook as well. That's it, guys. This is how opening tricks work. And the 2 knights is not an opening trick, but the tricky part of this variation is that if you play as black, the normal play, as in the main line, then you fall into a trap. So the 2 knights variation is not a gambit, it's nothing dangerous if black knows how to play against it. But as you can see, even high-rated players can fall into this trap. So today I will teach you this opening trick in the Caro-Kann, 2 knights variation. Who wants to learn it? Let me know in the chat. Okay, actually, now that I have some time, I will set up my chat reading mode on the tablet. Let's see if I have time for it. Because I really want to read the chat while I'm playing and not just after it. It's time to close Spotify. I was listening to Hans Zimmer. What do you guys listen to, by the way? Oh, he has made his move. Gonna take here and take the rook. I have lots of time and the rook up, so I'm pretty confident about this game. So in the meantime, I can open the chat. chess24.com. I think this game is not so interesting anymore, Moby. I really know it's disappointing when you fall into an opening trap, but normally I win games with a rook up. So I wouldn't really, if I were you, I wouldn't insist on playing. There's one trick though, still, that the knight can be almost trapped, but I'm gonna play d4 and ask your bishop to retreat from c5. And then my knight can come back to e5, even to b4, so there's no trouble. And rook c8, knight e7 is there, thanks to this d4 push. Now, I don't really care about the c2 pawn. If you're a rook up, 1 pawn or 2, if it's hanging, you don't have to always defend those pawns. So now I prefer development to protecting all my pawns. I was 2 pawns up and a rook up, so really 1 or 2 pawns, even if you don't have pawns up, just the rook up for 2-3 pawns as a compensation for the opponent, it's still enough to win if those pawns are not about to promote. Very, very advanced pass pawns can compensate for a rook. These are not very advanced pawns. Actually, black doesn't have any advanced pawns. So of course he's attacking my rooks, that's good, he's doing well, but this, as I said, is just a rook up for me. Gonna give this check and trade rooks on c8. Just simplify the position because I'm a rook up. Whether you're a rook up or an exchange up, getting rid of one of the rooks, so you exchange one of your rooks for the only rook of your opponent. Also with exchange up, I've said it a couple of times, but I like to repeat it because I think it's very useful to know that once you have an exchange or a rook up, if you trade the last remaining rook of the opponent, you will be the only one having a rook, so your rook is suddenly a lot more powerful. If we had my rook and his rook on the board, yes, it would be a powerful piece and it's a rook up, but it's not the same. Now it's even more powerful. I don't know if it was the best explanation why it's that good, but now I'm just improving my pieces. I have more time and a rook up. So it's difficult to be very instructive about this because I really have no suggestions for black apart from resigning. I will still try to, of course, make the best moves. I want to push b4 and a5, so I'm gonna retreat for the moment because I want to be able to advance my passed pawns, attack this bishop with now on the c file. If he takes, well, he might take. Actually, if you're a rook up, you don't even have to worry about things like doubling your pawns and such because it's a rook up. I move this knight so that I can push a5 next move. Now, I did miss that he can take my a4 pawn, so you see I'm not even playing the best moves. But it happens sometimes when you're a rook up, you just forget about trying to find the best moves. Actually, that's bad. So that's bad attitude. If you are a piece, a rook, couple of pawns up, you should still try to find the best moves. On my last move, I didn't play the best moves for sure. This one, knight d6 is not the best because I just give up this pawn, but sometimes it's difficult to take the game that seriously when you are already winning this much. I mean, I'm not used to playing positions with the rook up because normally my opponents resign. Moby, thank you for the game. I think you just forgot that this is a variation that's tricky if you play the same way. So today this is the only thing I'm going to teach apart from the games and the instructions I give during the games. You shouldn't play this. This is a two knights variation against the Caro-Kann. Black can go bishop g4, black can play d4, and you can also take, but now you shouldn't play bishop f5. Or if you do, you have to go bishop g4 next. So the thing is, in the main line of the Caro-Kann, this is the main line when you go d4, d5, now knight d2 or knight c3, doesn't matter. Black takes on e4, knight takes, bishop f5, knight g3, bishop g6, h4, h6. This is very similar to the position we had in the game. But what's the main difference? Here, white has a pawn on d4, and in my game, I had this pawn on d2 and the knight on f3. So in the main line, there's no knight jumping to e5 and then queen f3, queen b3, because the knight is still on just g1. That's the big difference, and this difference makes this position very playable. This is the main line, and not playable at all against the two knights. So against the two knights, you can't play the same. You can't play the same because after knight e5, white is just much better. You either let me take on g6, and black will have a very crippled pawn structure, or you fall into this even worse trick that now I'm threatening mate. I was just thinking because first I didn't realize. I was like, where's the mate? But there's no mate after queen d5. You just need to take on d5 and then give a check on b5. If king d8, knight f7 wins the rook. If knight c6, you take, of course, and then you take the other rook. So there's just no good way to defend. If knight f6, after queen b3, he played e6, and that's bad. But also queen d5 is bad. It looks like queen d5 protects against the mate and attacks the knight, but you don't need to care. You can take on b7, and if queen takes e5 check, bishop e2, you're a piece down, but next move you're gonna take this rook. There's no way black can protect the rook, so you will be an exchange up, and the black king is exposed. So this is the trick, two knights variation against the Caro-Kann. Of course you should check the main lines, you should check how it is when black plays normally. It's not a miracle opening, so if black knows how to play against it, you will just have a very playable position. I like it. I like this opening. I played it against grandmasters too, and grandmasters don't fall into this opening trap, and I still play this opening against them because I like it. It's a positional style of handling the Caro-Kann, mainly positional. You can check it out. Today is not about the Caro-Kann, but I wanted you to know about this opening trap, and I shall see the chat. I promised I'm gonna go and see the chat, so let's go to the chat. Watch shows. I'm gonna watch my own show. Always a weird feeling. Don't forget that you can use the discount code ANNA, ANNA, if you want to become premium. 15% off. And I think we have time for one more game at least. I see some of you guys asking for a game. I wish I could just grant the game to everyone, but it's not so easy. So I try to give a chance to as many of you as possible. I always try to click on new names, but I just can't give a chance to everyone, unfortunately. Okay, I think I played against you already, Dr. Balu. Is that correct? So I will click on another user, but tell me in the chat, please, Dr. Balu. Your nick rings a bell, so I think we have played already. Please tell me if you have played against me already. I'm trying now to give a chance to new users. Cobra, hi, nice to meet you. Let's go for the French defense. Actually, I don't always play the French defense. I also play e5. But you guys know me because of the French defense, so I stick to it on the streams. This is a fun fact. Please. Why? Why everybody wants to go for the exchange French? Okay, shall we once again go for the isolated pawn? Let's go for the castle queenside option. I told you guys that it's also possible to castle queenside if you don't want the position to be symmetrical in the exchange French. So today I'm going to show you both. The idea is that you play knight c6, c3 is the most natural, and then you play bishop d6, knight g to e7. This bishop can go to f5 or to g4, queen d7 and castle queenside. You might get mated on the queen side because white will go castle king side, but it's a lot more interesting than a symmetrical French defense, exchange variation. The exchange variation is very boring if you don't do something that makes the position different. h3 I don't think is necessary, so I'm gonna go for the normal response. He's preventing bishop g4. He was afraid of knight f3, bishop g4, but h3 is a waste of time. And since I will go castle queenside, if white castles kingside after pushing h3, that's a move that will help me with my pawn storm. You know that with opposite side castling, the players are preparing pawn storms. That is something I hopefully will be able to present in this game. I'm just thinking whether I should go bishop f5, because normally you want to get rid of this bishop. If bishop e6, knight g5, queen d7 still. f6 is also sometimes a move that you want to play as black. Do I want to play it here or not? I'm thinking because bishop f5 is the natural way of playing. So yeah, why not? I just wanted to keep more pieces on the board for the kingside attack. But positionally, of course, this is the move that you should play. In the French defense, that's the bad bishop. Even if there's no pawn on e6, that's the bad bishop. So I'm just continuing with the idea. Queen d7, and I want to play castle queenside, not castle kingside. And what I was explaining is that the more advanced pawns you have on the same flank as your king, the easier it is for your opponent to create pawn breaks. That is, when there's a g5, g4 push, for instance, and white will have to take on g4 or I will take on h3. So there's a clash between those pawns. Now, if the pawn was on h2, it would be a lot more difficult for me to create that kind of a situation where my opponent is forced to do something about the pawn. I castled because I don't like to be pinned, but now I think white can go knight e5. So maybe on a previous move I should have played f6 first to prevent knight e5. I think now knight e5 is a good move, forcing me to capture on e5. I will have to take with the bishop, changing the pawn structure. Still, white is undeveloped. You see that all his pieces are there on the queen side. I believe that my position is good, but perhaps it was even better if I had played f6 first. Okay, going for a queen side attack. Very logical, but now I will prevent knight e5 for good by playing f6. This prevents knight e5 and also helps me start preparing g5. Now he's doing the same. This is what you should do with opposite side castling. Cobra, you are doing very well. This is the strategy. Now, I'm not afraid of b5 in itself because I can place the knight on a5, blocking everything. a5, I think, is a better move for white, and then b5. If a5, I will want to move this knight away so that I have a square for the c6 knight. Therefore, I'm going to go on g5, and if a5, I will move knight g6, heading toward the king side with this knight, and by placing this knight here, I'm not only preparing my attack, but I also free the e7 square for the c6 knight. So I'm talking about a5 for white. If he doesn't push a5 but b5 immediately, I have a square on a5 for my knight, and that stops his attack for the moment. If he pushes a5, he's threatening b5 because I don't want to play knight v8 next move, certainly not. Therefore, after a5, I will play knight g6, and after b5, this c6 knight can jump to e7. Hope that you can follow what I'm talking about. The point is that you should be faster, of course, always with opposite side castling, but here it doesn't matter that white gets there first with his pawns. He's not supporting it yet with his pieces, so I'm not afraid because a5, b5 is there on the board. It's okay as long as white's pieces are not there cutting my king's throat. My king's throat, yes. That's what I was going to say. You see, a5, he's threatening b5, so I'm going to jump away with this knight, freeing this square, b5, knight e7, and if a6, you don't want to open the position, you will play b6. Try to keep the position as close as possible. He might want to play b6 himself, so he can try this pawn break or b6. Now, if b6, you should be very careful. This is a dangerous position already. If I take and then a6, he might sacrifice on a6 later on. I don't want to take with the a pawn because that opens the a5 completely. So the options I have, king b8 looks a bit weird because then a6, so everything opens up. King b8 is bad. I think I should either take and a6 and hope that there's no sacrifice because of the undeveloped pieces, or I can play a6 first and let him take on c7. I think that's what I will do because that means that the a file is not open. You see, I can't keep the position completely closed. This is just impossible with opposite side castling and these pawn storms, but I can make sure that I try to keep at least the most important files, the a file, closed. Now, I will just take here with the queen. If the bishop is captured on f5, I can take back with the knight. And next move, I will either go for knight f4 or h5, g4. Hanging piece, so let's take this guy. And knight f4 I don't want to play now because this bishop is not developed, so he will take my piece. I don't want to help him develop his pieces. I will go for h5. I think later on white wants to open the c5, but you see he still needs time to prepare that. Bishop a3 is logical, but now I have knight f4. Now it's much better to jump to f4. White cannot take it anymore. And if the queen has to go to f1, then it's already not very good. g4. You see, this is what happens when the pawn is on h3. If the pawn was only on h2, it would have taken me a lot longer to open either the h or the g file. So I have all my pieces very active and I'm opening up now the king side, even though white has managed to open the b file and in the future could push c4 to open the c file. Black is better because I'm doing the same on the king side and my pieces are active. So you need to support that pawn storm with the pieces. Launch the pawns, but of course you need to be very quick not only with the pawns but with your piece development, and that's where white was lacking here. The queen on f1 is not helping the attack. He can still try c4, of course, but it's not as dangerous as if there would be double rooks on the b file or the rook coming here. Knight e5. I don't really understand. What's your idea? I will accept your sacrifice. I think he missed that my pawn was on f6, didn't he? I really don't get it. Anyway, let's continue with the game. Today everybody wants to give me free pieces. I like that. Actually, I don't like it. I mean, I like when the games are the best possible. I don't like free pieces and just winning without having really played the best I could. So now, once again, I lose a little bit of interest in this game because it becomes too easy when your opponent is giving you free pieces. I could have played queen g6 earlier. You see, I'm not even playing the best moves anymore because I stopped looking at it so seriously. Well, thank you for the game, Cobra. I didn't expect you to give me free pieces with knight e5 and such, but I think without knight e5 too, white is in trouble. So if you move the knight elsewhere, knight to d2, I'm going to take on h3. If you take back, it's already serious trouble for white. It's not mate immediately, but you see that black can bring all his pieces, or her pieces, to the king side. For instance, rook g2, I can bring the other rook here. I'm threatening then to move this knight away and queen h2 mate. So this position was already winning for black, I believe. I did not expect the free pieces, but today I guess you guys thought that it's my birthday. No, it's not my birthday. It's Magnus Carlsen's birthday and it's Simon Williams' birthday. So say happy birthday to the world champion and to the Ginger GM, because today is their day. And I shall thank you for the games. It's been a pleasure to stream for you as usual. Remember that there's a discount code in my name written there, just the name, ANNA, Anna. That's the code to get 15% off of the premium memberships. It's a one-time code. You can use it for a 1 month, 1 year, or 3-year membership as well, the one you pick. Take advantage of it, and I will see you guys next Thursday. And now I will read the chat, because I know I didn't have time for it during the stream, but now I'm really curious and I'm gonna read all your comments. You should know that. I will read it now on Chess24, and I also read the YouTube comments, so be nice. I will see you guys next Thursday. Bye-bye.